name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at Gen Con 2019. I'm sitting down with Spencer Reeve from IDW Games, and you brought us the newest Ghostbusters title that you have, which is Ghostbusters Blackout.
Yeah. And it's actually the first Ghostbusters game we've done.
Oh, excellent.
Because basically we've been doing the comics for years at IDW. And so we were kind of contacted by Sony, and they asked us if we'd be interested in doing games set inside the Ghostbusters comic universe.
Got it.
And we thought that was a great idea. So this game, Blackout, is set inside the universe, although I won't say it's technically canon because we didn't go through the whole process of talking to the comics team and saying, can you implement this into the comics? Because they have like a multi-year plan when they're doing the comics.
Right,
and we're like,
sense.
We'll make this game next year. And they're not like ready to be like, okay, we'll just throw that story in there too.
The one we've been working on for 3 years.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of a side story and it's non-canonical, but it does use the canonical characters from the comics. And in the comics, what Sony, Ghost Corps, which Ghost Corps is the licensing group that does everything Ghostbusters, and the IDW and editorial team have decided is that the first two movies are considered canonical, and then the comics follow their own canonical storyline that is baked into those first two movies.
Okay.
So you have the classic four Ghostbusters, Ray, Peter, let's see if we can do this off the top of my head, Winston, and Egon.
There you go, very good.
And then you have Janine, who in the comics kind of becomes a Ghostbuster, as well as another set of Ghostbusters that she works with. And so this story in this game is that New York has had another massive blackout like it's had a few times historically. And during that, the containment unit has shut down and everything has escaped. So we have all the classic Ghostbusters ghosts that you've probably seen in both the movies and, if you're a big comic fan, guys from the comics. So the way the game starts is we actually pick our characters. And there are actually, I believe, 8 characters in the box. Since the game is using like dice rolling and placement to avoid like kind of managed threat, there are 4 standard color of dice, but there are multiple characters. So no character has their own set of dice. Rather, a player has a dice color and a character, and then they clip a corresponding color to the base of their character standee. So this Peter Venkman is being played by the green player, who has the green dice and this green colored standee. So we put these characters all where the Ghostbusters starting spot is, which I believe is Manhattan. It's been a long show. My geek trivia might be a little rusty at this point. And then we'll actually deal out ghosts into every borough around us. So even including Manhattan, we'll go out here. We have the Terror Birds, which is the guys from the comic. We have the 5 Points Killer. And then we have Santa Muerte, Dragar, and we have Jail Jaw Ghost. So these ghosts are actually really well known by people who follow the comics, but we even got people like Gozer, from the movies.
Yeah.
We got Vigo the Carpathian. We have, let's see here, we got the Stay Puft.
All right.
We got kind of the gnarliest looking Slimer you've ever seen.
What's the teeth?
This is a really famous one. We have the Ghost Train. A lot of people know the Ghost Train, and we have a lot of payoffs there to the characters that have been seen in the movies and in the comics. So, and all these guys have the same set of basically requirements, or I should say, they have varying sets of requirements, which is what is required to bust them. So we'll all, at our turns, we'll be able to move and roll our dice. And actually, our dice do different things. So like the ghost, we got the Ecto 1 will actually get us to move. A trap is usually one of the requirements to bust a ghost, as well as the particle stream. The no ghost symbol can do a couple of things. It can be used to reduce kind of the chaos that's happening around the city. Because if this ever gets to 20, the game is over.
Okay, so we have to mitigate some short-term threats.
Right, and it can also be used to cause characters who have been possessed. Always match this one up. Causes characters who have been possessed.
I love it. Actually, it looks like he's possessed.
Yeah. That's the only one that works on them. So we always make sure we show it. There, see? Yeah. We're really smart. So you can use it to remove possession. And then finally, we have the PKE meter, and those can be used, sometimes those are used on Ghost, but they're often used to buy additional items. So you pay them off, and then those items come into your character tableau, and these are used to adjust dice rolls. They sometimes adjust the requirements for the ghost that you're fighting.
I was going to say, so, I mean, this is pretty simple that I'm... cluing in onto this already, that these would be the 3 things
Right.
that I would need
And
to
so that-
take care of that ghost.
As that player, you would have busted that ghost. You might have had this PKE meter to buy something, and then you would have used this to actually move from Manhattan into this borough. Players who share a borough can actually share dice. So if I roll something really good for, okay, I only need movement and 1 more die to unlock this ghost. So I don't need these 3 other dice. I'll give them to you so you can take them over here and move over here and fight these ghosts. If you ever not roll a movement, you can burn, let's say you don't have a movement here, you can always burn 2 dice to move, or you can always burn a dice out of your pool and re-roll the remaining 4. So it's a very light threat management game with the kind of similar elements to some other dice rolling threat management games. And the in-game state for the game is basically catching up to 15 ghosts. And every time you get through enough ghosts, you have kind of a catch-up mechanic for the ghosts, where you flip over mass hysteria tiles that have bad events that happen. So the idea is that even though we're doing a good job, it's taking us a while. People are getting scared, so mass hysteria is starting to break out. And so
Cats and dogs
living together. Yes. So and there's one of these that says it. No, there's not one of these that says that. But the idea is that these bad things will happen, and sometimes they're good, but usually they're bad. And there's a fair amount of these. And also, as a Ghostbusters catch-up mechanic, when chaos gets past this point, we actually earn a free reroll token. So both the ghosts and the Ghostbusters have a catch-up mechanic for when they're getting kind of beaten up a little bit.
Now, being a cooperative game, is there a scalable element to make this more difficult over time?
So basically, the game always has to be played with 4 Ghostbusters. So it's any number of players, 1 to 4.
Right.
But the game is built pretty tightly on the fact that you will have 4 characters moving around the board. So the characters, the game is as hard as it is kind of always, although you can do some things like pull out only the bad mass hysteria tiles and cook them in, so you have a smaller number of them. You'll shuffle them and put them in, so you know that these are going to be bad events. Outside of that, that's really the only thing you can really do, because it's kind of meant to be a just above family weight threat management game.
Well, if you guys, and is this available now, or?
This will be available in October. That's a really good question. This will be available in October.
Well, if you guys want to check that out, this is Ghostbusters Blackout, which has connections to the comic, but let's mention again, non-canonical, in case you're curious about that, which is being published by IDW Games. And Spencer, thank you again.
Great, thank you so much.